Hey everyone, welcome back. And today we are joined by a very special guest. We've got new Oregon guard Matthew Bedford on the show today. How are you doing today, Matthew?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's been a few days. We've been trying to get a date scheduled, but we were able to finally get something worked out. I'm really excited to have you on. Before we get into anything about the transfer portal and kind of what led to your decision to go to Oregon, is there anything you would like to say to your former team? Obviously, you're coming from Indiana. We're the sixth highest graded guard in the Big Ten, according to PFF. What would you like to say to Hoosier Nation and those fans in that program that you left behind?
Oh man, who's the nation? Man, thank you for the support, for being behind me since I was 17 years old, taking my first couple starts out there on, what I'm saying, coming out behind that rock and representing you guys, in Happy Valley and in the big house and bringing home those memorable wins, with the double overtimes and beating Penn State and all those great moments, that I was, blessed to be a part of and be able to represent you guys. It's been a dream. It's been something that I've been working for a long time as a kid, and to finally see it, unravel in front of me in Indiana, and in Bloomington has been huge. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Hoosier Nation.
So, we talked about it. Left Indiana. Obviously, at the end of the season, Indiana made the coaching change and stuff like that. So, before you decided to officially enter the transfer portal, why was it something that you were thinking before the coaching change happened, or was it the coaching change and you were like, okay, new coach, I think I want to find a change of scenery for myself? Kind of what led to your decision to enter the transfer portal?
Uh, going toward the end of the season, you hear the rumors and things, and you know, I, I love Coach Allen. He's been a really big part in my development. Well, since I've been on the team, and I just want to do everything possible, to help him in that process of everything. And once he was kind of let go, it was kind of just you saw the instability that that process brings to a program, and with my last year being a priority for me and my family. It was kind of just I had to do what's best, in terms of going into a situation that's already established that has a need, and somewhere I can bring my talents and my ability to also help me grow as well. So it was just kind of the best decision for me and my family, and for my future. So yeah.
So let's talk about the head coach. I believe he's going to be the new Penn State defensive coordinator. So what kind of guy is Penn State going to be getting?
Yeah, they're getting. In my opinion, I think he's a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, and obviously a Hall of Fame coach, but head coach, but specifically a coordinator. I mean, he's a defensive coach, so they're getting somebody that definitely knows how to run a defense and strike the fear in the offenses, because I had to deal with it in practice over and over again. So it's they're getting a great guy, and especially a man of God. Somebody, when you got God on your side, man, there's nothing that can go against that. So yeah, it's huge. Yeah, that Penn State got a great grab out of Coach Allen.
So we got to talk about the transfer portal here. Before we get into a little bit of your decision and things, there have been a lot of talks about, is the transfer portal good for college football? Is it ruining the sport? Is it going to be long term detrimental to the sport? As a player, what are your thoughts on the transfer portal? Is it enhancing the sports? Do you think there are some areas that college football could improve with the transfer portal? And from a player's perspective, what are the pros and cons in your opinion?
Okay. This is obviously my opinion. So this, it's just the way I've experienced it, and I see definitely some gaps. The main one being, the education of things. Like there were so many questions that me and my family had going into it, that made it such a big question mark. About how do we set up visits, and what can we do versus what can we not do. You reflect on freshman year recruitment, and there were so many things that you couldn't do. When I was coming in to college football in 2018, 2019, you would even get in trouble for asking for gloves from a team. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you're trying to figure out those things that you can and cannot do. Yeah, so just the education part of it is probably the biggest thing I would say. There's a video and all that you have to watch that gives you details on what you need to do to enter the portal, and how you need to, the questions that you need to ask, quote unquote, that you know for to solidify your living situation and all of that. But there's more that needs to be talked about. But um I think it is to your second point, I feel like um, it is an add-on to college football. Like, I feel like it definitely brings it to another level in terms of making the transfer portal essentially like free agency in the NFL. Um, it has guys makes guys mature, and in a sense, I know I've seen sense of maturity within myself. It helped me definitely align my priorities. The things that I feel are most important, quite honestly, like my family, my fiance, and my future and all, and how what my actions do can impact those things. So this process has definitely been very important for me, and a very big focus in my life toward the end of this past season. So yeah, I feel like it's an add-on, in my opinion, to college football.
So, are there anything that I think a lot of the issues that people have are the multi-time transfers, the players that seem to just be transferring year after year. Is there anything that you think that the NCAA could implement that could maybe help this, kind of from a player's perspective? Kind of what things do you think could maybe help these issues get resolved?
I mean, I don't really think it's my place to say. Like, I'm definitely playing, and I've spent a majority of my career at one school. So, but I have seen guys that have done the hop thing. I honestly can't put a finger on it, on what it is. There's so many reasons and so many, you know, obstacles that people have to go through in their careers, and it just so happens that in some cases it looks like they're just hopping team to team, but it may be actual reasons that we don't know about that are impacting this player and their experience on that team, that's preventing them from playing at the highest level possible, which is what we're all trying to do at the end of the day as athletes.
Yeah. So you entered the portal. What were you looking for in your next program that you were planning to go to? What teams were interested? I know of at least two teams that were interested. Were there any other teams that got involved there? And then well, we'll get into the next question, but let's just get to that first.
Yeah, definitely. In my process, I was placing on-time priority on my development, the continuation of it. I've gotten to a really great point here with the coaches that have been providing for me at Indiana, up under Coach Allen, starting Coach Hiller, and then moving on to Coach Bostad. And from those two guys, I mean, I got so much better each year that, got me to be noticed, whether it be honorable mentions of the Big Ten and all those things. But, um, I placed a priority on my development because this last year is so important for, going to the next level. I have to focus on, the drill work and the things that are keeping me from being the best, what I'm saying, in that aspect. So I had to look for the coaches, the program that's going to support me in this last year in this short amount of time. And also just, I have a fiance, so I make sure she's comfortable, because she's going to be, supporting me through this process as well and coming on for that ride. So, yeah, just those are the main things, quite honestly. And, I had to assess from, starting with Auburn, first trip, coming down, you freeze and Coach Hiller, like he was there and touched there. And then I had to make my trip down to Colorado, as you guys know. Took that trip, sat on Coach Prime and Coach Phil, coach there, and enjoyed their conversation and the people, the environment there. It was beautiful in both places, and I committed there. And then after that, I went to Oregon and sat down with Coach Lanning and Coach Terry there. Both guys, Coach Phil and Coach Terry, are younger guys, but in their careers. But I mean, they have resumes that are second to none in my opinion. With what time they've had doing the coaching thing. So they definitely set themselves apart. But I got to Oregon and saw how they prepare players each year for competition at the end of the year, and I saw it was second to none. So I had to be reasonable and make the best decision for me and my family, and have some really hard conversations that, I pray that they, come out on the right end at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
So you talked about it. You initially committed to Colorado. You flew to Boulder, met with Coach Prime. Talk about that meeting in particular, and what was it about the Colorado program that just had you buy in so quickly? And there are a lot of people that are pretty low on that Colorado team and that program and Coach Prime as a whole. So, as someone that went into the building, got to see how Coach Prime and that whole team uh, goes about their business, what was it that intrigued you about Colorado initially?
I mean, it feels like family. Yeah, it definitely is family the way that Coach Prime has uh, Colorado set up. And from the moment you walk through the door, everybody wants to make sure that you're okay and help you along your process. And whatever it is, whether it's just you getting a plate or helping you get your equipment right so you can get ready for practice. You know what I'm saying? So and just seeing how genuine people are and how they approach, meeting you and actually getting to know you and not just seeing you as a numbers or add on to the team. I will say that he's put so many people in the facility that have had the knowledge of being on the next level for so long. That it's all at first it's almost daunting because it's so they've been to where you've wanted to be all your life. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely, it took me a minute to start to ask me my questions and actually get to know people and see that they are just genuine people that want to help young men like myself go along my career and do the things that they've done, but on a bigger scale. There's so much young talent in that building, and
Yeah.
so that's what kind of got me wrapped up with Colorado so fast, and other factors too. Um, you know, when I got to Oregon, it was a lot of the same feelings, but I was just it reminded me so much more of the next level that it was almost it made the most sense to make that change almost right after I got off the plane. With my family next to me, and they agreed. It was just the best decision for me and my development. And we wanted to help at Colorado so much. We saw the need, and we saw what we could do. And I talked to Shitter and Travis, and talked about how the team was, and the culture reminded me a lot of Indiana, of how we were trying to turn things around and how we did it for a moment. And, I kind of was able to relay at least my experiences so they can, pick up a couple of things from that. But it was great getting to meet those guys and seeing our program and seeing the love and want and the appreciation for me and what I'm able to do. Um, but I mean, I went to Oregon and they gave me the exact same and made sure I knew that I was needed there too.
So you talked about how you got more feelings of the NFL from the Oregon program or the next level. Talk about that a little bit. What was different about the building than Colorado? And if you don't want to go into specifics, I understand, but kind of talk to me about what was a little bit different about the two in terms of structure, I guess.
Well, I was just thinking more so along the strength and conditioning part of it, like the weight rooms and the when I sat down with the offensive line coach, his philosophy on things and the way that he develops guys, I felt like it was better suited for me and my development for the next level. The things that I need to work on were a focal point for him in practice and in meetings. And when it came to just the everyday part of things, that the training, the dietary things that I need to be on the next level, they all had. So it just made the most sense, quite honestly, for me to make that change. Like it all reminded me of what I would be receiving on the NFL, in my opinion. So yeah,
Did you at all take a look at previous offensive linemen that had come out of Oregon? I know Jackson Powers Johnson,
yeah.
probably a second or third round pick this year. You got Penn Sewell. I mean, they've got a long history of producing really good offensive linemen. Was that something that you took into consideration when you made that final decision?
Absolutely. I watched Penn during his career a little bit at Oregon, and I watched, certain techniques that he did that I tried to imitate. Not imitate, but, add to my game during the season. I think 2021 or something like that. And yeah, I was very impressed with him. And then I also watched this past O-line, and see how these guys were just as close from getting out. And the 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 O-line trophy, um, the best O-line in the country, and uh, just saw the when the guys get to Ringington, and I just see the success coming out of that room, and then I got to meet them and see how these guys are. I mean, they really embody what it means to be a part of an O-line unit. These guys are connected. They're focused. They're driven. You see how they practice, and you see that they have fun with it. And it just seems like a really good room to just be a part of and help, add to. So it just made the most sense.
So, what kind of player is Oregon going to be getting? What do you think you can bring to this program to help get them into the college football playoff, the expanded college football playoff next year? What do you think you can do to help that team?
Well, they're coming to the Big Ten, so it's conference that I've spent my whole career in. That's the first thing. I know defenses and I know their schemes. I know a lot of what they're going to bring. I've seen over the past years, so I'd be able to adopt into their language and be able to honestly help them in certain ways and give certain tendencies away that certain schools do. In a sense, I mean, not that I've seen during film study during the weeks or seasons here at Indiana, and I can also have my my abilities. Kind of I'm kind of good at the run game. I like to move the ball, and that's what they plan to do this season. So I'm going to add on to that, especially out of the guard position. Protection. They're bringing in this quarterback, from Oklahoma, this Gabriel guy, and they need some protection on that. So I'll be able to shore up the interior of the unit. I'll be able to help ensure the interior. Um, yeah, I just know what I'm able to do in terms of run game and pass protection. I know I'll be able to shore up that A gap and B gap a little bit. To add on to that really great, already pretty good unit. So that's just what I feel like I'll be able to do. Coach will
You
tell you
talked,
more.
go ahead.
I said, Coach will tell you more.
Yeah. You talked about Dylan Gabriel coming in. Also, Dante Moore, 5-star from UCLA, transferring as well. Have you gotten to talk to either of these guys, and kind of what's the vibe of the locker room right now?
Not yet. I was just in the process of getting moved in and all of that. We're actually packing up this place I'm in now. But yeah, once I'm pretty sure once I get there, we'll have a good talk about what we plan to do and see how we can add on to this team.
Yeah, I mean, all of that sounds incredible, and congratulations on finding a spot that works for you. Um, I look forward to watching you play for Oregon. I mean, you talked about it going to the Big Ten. It's going to be a team that's going to get a lot of national coverage, and so I'll be very interested to kind of see the direction that your career goes and where this Oregon team can go as a whole. But before we end up wrapping things up, I love to do a little bit of rapid fire questions here at the end, a little bit to get to know Matthew Bedford, the person, not the football player. So I got
All
a
right.
couple of football questions, but most of it's just going to be a little bit of fun here. The first football question: who is the hardest player that you've ever had to block? Who gave you the hardest time, whether that's a college or a high school player?
Mm. I say Aiden Hutchinson when we played them. I want to say it was at 2021. Yeah, I had been during that game. I had played right guard, left guard, right tackle, and then left tackle. And both times when I was a tackle, we got a couple reps in, and he's a strong individual. You wouldn't think it by looking at him when he was in college, but he gave me a long arm, and I had to sit on that thing. I was trying my hardest with him, and thank God he wasn't able to get a sack on me, but yeah, that was a good competition.
So when you were growing up, who was your favorite player to watch growing up, and did you have a favorite team growing up?
I love watching Tyron Smith and the Cowboys offensive line. I love watching how I mean, as a specimen of an offensive lineman, like he's got the length, he's got the height, he's got the weight, it's mostly muscle, you know what I'm saying? He's fast, pair him with, at the time, Ezekiel Elliott running behind him. I mean, it was just a really great offense to watch run the ball.
Who is your favorite musical artist? Who do you like to listen to?
I love Kendrick Lamar. I've been bumping his latest album a lot. Also like Rod Wave, and been bumping his album as well.
Do you have a favorite Kendrick song? He's my favorite as well. I love Kendrick.
Count Me Out.
Count Me Out. It's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite TV show?
Boondocks.
Boondocks. You're the second person. I interviewed your teammate last week, Miles Jackson. He said the same thing, and
Yeah,
I've never seen it, so that's one I definitely got to put on my list to watch.
you gotta watch it, man. You gotta watch it.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Great movie. Favorite food?
Give me a Memphis pulled pork.
All right. Are you a cat or a dog person?
I'm a dog person.
Then we're going to wrap it up with the most important question: pancakes or waffles?
I'm a waffles man till I die.
Absolutely. On the same page there. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I had an incredible time, and it was great to finally get this scheduled, get to talk to you, and I'm excited to see what you can do at Oregon next year.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.